In this nondescript building in Bellingham, layers of red-hot steel are forged into razor-sharp works of highly functional art. This is Kramer Knives, one of the preeminent makers of chef's knives in the world. Despite its stature, the team at Kramer Knives is made up of just 3 people: founder Bob Kramer, Jessica Peterson, and shop manager Tom Ferry.
This is the premier. This is the top tier level of chef knives in particular.
As far as our creativity can take us and our technical abilities, we can make that and sell that. All I have to do is make the piece and then set it free.
A former professional cook, Bob is one of just 130 master bladesmiths in the world. To earn the title takes, at a bare minimum, 5 years, and involves both tests of practical blade making ability and flawless craftsmanship. But what really sets this small shop apart, the reason they can push the limits of creativity, is Kramer Knives is home to not just one master bladesmith, but 2.
He's just an artist, and he brings a lot of that art into these pieces.
I think it's a cool combination between Bob being high performance and me bringing this artistic aspect into it.
Before coming to Kramer Knives, Tom spent 2 decades running his own knife-making business. He began collaborating with Bob some 8 years ago. Their first project, this knife, proved so successful they just kept going. Then Bob approached Tom about moving to Bellingham so they could work together full-time.
And I jumped on it immediately. There was no hesitation. My intuition, my gut, everything at that time told me this was the right move. And this is what needed to happen to put me back in a good place. I come from a family who's very outdoorsy, very much into hunting, fishing. I think looking back, it's interesting that there was two reasons why I became a knife maker. One was to get approval and acceptance from family. Not necessarily the best way to approach that. Previously to coming to Kramer Knives, I had seen a counselor or 3 or 4 counselors for off and on for 3 or 4 years. I had struggled with depression. And the one thing I've realized is generational trauma. But generational trauma is real. Generational trauma is handed down. What it brought forth with me was carrying this bag of shame and guilt that I didn't fit in the box. And it's a difficult place to be. Very few people understand it. Very few people want to get involved. Very few people want to have a conversation about that. Bob was all in from the get-go.
In 2019, Bob suggested Tom take a series of classes through a local nonprofit called Excellence Northwest.
It just allows you to kind of take inventory and examine whatever stories you've been telling yourself. And Tom took the class and did incredibly well. He just uncorked the genie and gave himself all the latitude he needed to make whatever he wanted. And it's a very powerful thing.
Tom and his wife Jackie live in the tiny town of Custer. Their farm is like something out of a fairy tale.
I was struggling with belief. I was struggling with believing in myself. I was struggling with staying on the path I was on. And then one day I realized I could believe in unicorns. And not only could I believe in unicorns, I could create a unicorn to remind me that we can believe in anything we want.
Everyone who comes here says that it's just a little bit of magic everywhere they go.
Tom and Jackie took those leadership classes together. They culminated with a final project. The goal? Find something in your life and go all in. For Jackie, it was canning. For Tom, something he hadn't done since high school: painting.
I decided to dive into my childhood. And in diving into that, I realized all the creativity that I had locked away, that I was too embarrassed to show, that I didn't have enough courage to bring to the world. I think it's twofold, I've realized, in that in some ways I'm finding myself, in other ways I'm creating myself.
And in creating, in discovering his magic, Tom has found healing, and with it, a renewed sense of belief in himself.
Prior to coming to Kramer Knives, I felt like I had demons I had to deal with. I felt like I had to slay these demons, otherwise I would never be healthy. At some point in 2020, for myself, I had realized that it wasn't about slaying the demons, it wasn't about slaying the dragons, it was about embracing them.
I think Tom's an artist at heart. I think he has always been that. I think he's super creative and always has been. I think for a while it may have gotten stuffed, but I think, you know, the genie was let out of the bottle and now it's just completely unleashed.